Hi, I'm Jenny. Welcome to the Unconventional Homestead. Today, Sunday, December 11th, 2022, Anthony, my husband, and I are processing horseradish. We've had horseradish in our garden since about 2019 when we purchased 6 starts. The first lesson you can learn from us is probably 1 or 2 is plenty, but the other thing is put it in an area where it can be contained. So we have it. You'll see pictures of where we have it. I took pictures and not video of Anthony digging it up, and we probably got anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds today, and that's plenty. But anyway, it's a family favorite. My mom is seeing my dad's siblings this week for lunch, and I wanted to make sure that my 2 uncles and aunts had it to take back to their families to share it with them. So that's why the importance of doing it today. It did take me a while to figure out the recipe. My dad never wrote it down because I think it's so simple. But after talking to another aunt and figuring out who Grandpa got the recipe from, we figured out it's pickled beet juice. So I pickle beets just for the juice. I share the beets with the people that we cook for and deliver food. And then I use the juice just to make the horseradish. So most horseradish recipes, if you're going to jar it up and freeze it, because you can't can it to keep the intensity of the horseradish, call for just vinegar, sugar, and salt. And that is in the pickled beets. So I add just a little bit of salt and then the juice and the horseradish. So right now I have the horseradish inside and I'm cleaning it. It's extremely dirty, as you'll see. These have gone through washed once. I'm going to rinse them again. This is what they look like coming out of the ground after I've shook them up. These are all little roots that could then become horseradish roots, big enough to do something with. And I have a scrubby. I cleaned out the sink, both sides, scrubbed it, and I like to use the scrubby because it does get the dirt, as you can see. And some of these little ones, we may not even need to peel. The bigger ones we can. But that's the color of horseradish without all the dirt and compost and that type of thing. So I will bring you back when it's all, when the hard work is over and we're ready to go out in the garage and process it. Take 3. We are in the garage. This is my husband, Anthony, and all of the horseradish has been peeled. We ended up with 5.5 pounds of horseradish. We're going to say 5 pounds because we threw away some stuff that was a little bit softer. You'll know once you start processing it. It should be not quite as firm as a carrot, but firm. And I cut these into pieces where I was easily able to peel them. So rule number 1, I already told you, was you dig up and process in a month that has an R. Rule number 2 is don't process in the house. Rule number 3 is dedicated equipment. So this food processor is only for processing horseradish, because let me tell you, we have no sinus problems today, but you're going to want to pulse it. And let me show you. So I'm going to process it a little bit more. But I'm going to pour some of the pickled beet juice in, and we're going to put just a little bit of salt. And again, there are no measurements, just I'll show you when the consistency is what it's supposed to be. That's like half a teaspoon of salt. why you want dedicated equipment. It's hard on it, but also, oof, it is very strong flavor. But we're gonna add some more horseradish and just keep processing. We'll bring you back in a little bit. We have the horseradish processing in our robo coop, but we just broke rule number 3, which is have dedicated equipment. It was taking a really long time and not processing as fine as I would like it in our old processor that's just the horseradish. So I don't use my RoboCoop very often as a food processor, hoping that we can get the smell out, but this is gonna make it really, really good. Let me show you what the consistency is. Completely, oh my, don't stick your head in it.
Strong.
But I am gonna let it sit here for about 10 minutes because everything I've read says that it'll get stronger as you let it sit. Once you put vinegar with it, that locks in what level of horseradish heat it has. To me, this is really, really strong. But I know the last time I made it, my brother-in-law tasted it and he said, it's not as strong as your dad's. Everybody else thought it was really strong, but I'm gonna try to get some heat in it. And so we'll bring you back, but this definitely is the route to go. You need to have a strong processor to get it really fine. And ours is gonna look beautiful. So we'll bring you back. So I've let this sit a half an hour. All it has in it is the horseradish that's finely ground up. I'm gonna put the beet juice, which is sugar, vinegar. Whoops, one beet disappeared. And I'm gonna put just a little bit of salt. And mix it in again. And what I did last time, I'm just gonna add a little bit of vinegar just to get it nice, mixed a little bit better and get some of the horseradish off the sides that's not mixed in. But this is the right color. Perfect. So I have jars. These are not canning jars, but I have a lot of these that somebody gave me. Remember the Kraft cheese? Because you can't can horseradish. But this one, I'm putting my brother-in-law's name on because this was my test of letting it sit for a half an hour and then putting the vinegar on it to see if it gets hotter. And so since we're freezing these, we don't want to fill them completely. We want to leave a little bit room for expansion. But then so that's what it looks like. So I'll bring you back once I have all the jars filled to show you how much 5.5 pounds of horseradish, I almost said rhubarb, but this is horseradish, makes. we are done with the horseradish. This is my brother-in-law Mike's jar. Hopefully the test worked and it's really hot for him. I hope the flavor and heat is good for everybody else. But look at how many jars we got. So that's out of 5.5 pounds of horseradish, one afternoon of work, a little bit of tears, because I'll tell you what, that stuff was hot as we were grinding it up. I definitely could feel it. But we have 16 jars, well, 15 and a half of various sizes. So we'll have plenty to gift to people. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today, learning about horseradish. I hope you'll grow it. It is kind of a fun thing and definitely people love it. So please comment, share, like, and of course, we hope you'll subscribe and come back and check out our other videos. And until that time, keep preserving your food.